Hello, this is Robert with Beyond 20. Today we're working in Cherwell version 5.1, and actually one of the new version 5 updates is the ability to have record locking. And this is currently implemented for the major business objects such as incident, problem, change request. And this is really useful for when you have a series of incidents or tickets to tackle and you have two technicians trying to work on the same incident. The problem with that is that whoever saves the change last is the one that wins. That's the change that gets updated. The previous update, if you were to have two technicians save simultaneously, the first person that does it is going to save the update, but the second person is going to go in and have the first person's information completely overwritten. So Cherwell in version 5 came out with this great feature called record locking. And if you notice when you're logged into the orange pill here, if you follow along on my screen, there's a global lock manager. This allows you to view what records are currently locked and also force them to be unlocked. There's different ways to unlock a record. This is one way you can do it through the administration tool though. So if you go ahead and click on that, you can see that the user Josh locked a specific incident ID. Now let's say that we wanted someone to be able to edit that right away, but Josh went out to lunch and there's no way for us to log into Josh's computer and go to that record and click the unlock button. We can go here in the orange pill, highlight the record we want to unlock. You can either right click and then do unlock selected records or use the toolbar up here on the top. So this is a great tool to manage this in those types of situations. But let's run through what the specific features are that came out with version 5. If you go ahead and go to the Edit System Settings link in the orange pill and scroll down to Locking on the left, you'll see by default Enable Record Locking is checked. There's a few different options. You can either have this set globally or you can have this set on a specific business object. Going down the list here of available features, you can unlock records when the session ends. So that means when the technician logs out of Cherwell and the blue pill, you're able to automatically unlock all of those records. More than likely, you're going to want to keep this checkbox checked. In fact, all of the defaults should pretty much be checked, and the only ones you might want to think about changing are going to be the duration options, such as minutes and how many minutes to notify before locking expiration notices. So let's go ahead and go down the rest of these options. The default lock type can either be enforced or informational. So if we want to allow other technicians to continue editing the record and not actually lock it, but just show that someone else is on there, we might want to check the informational box. Otherwise, the enforced box being checked is going to ensure that that second person viewing the record is not able to edit that record. We also want to make sure when the lock actually happens, and that's going to be when the user starts editing the record itself. You can manually lock the record. However, if you're going to be editing a field as a technician, you want that record to lock the second that you're starting to edit that to make sure that no one else can make any changes. The duration options, you might want to take a look at the lock expiration minutes. So this tells us that after 30 minutes of inactivity, that we're going to automatically expire that lock. Depending on your environment and the number of users, you might want to have this to be a little bit lower, or if you're working on longer tickets, you might want this to be a greater number here. So let's take a look at this from the technician view real quick. If you open up the orange or the blue pill, and you'll see here I'm logged in and there's a record that's currently locked by me. Let's go to another incident and lock another record, such as the incident 100967. So you notice as soon as I open this new incident, it's not actually locked just yet. It still says it's unlocked. This is because under the system settings, we enabled the lock to happen once you actually start editing the business object. So if I go in here and make a change to the call source, and I realized that this was actually a mobile source rather than a phone source, I'll notice that this locked by you appears now. And if you highlight over this, it'll tell you who locked the record and when that record locking is going to expire. So if I go back to our orange pill, I should be able to see that this service request is now locked under the Global Lock Manager. And here we go. We can see that that's currently locked. So if I log in as another technician, so this is a different user here in this blue pill, and I try to browse to that record, you're going to see that this record was locked by Josh, and it's not going to let me make any changes. Since we enforced the lock rather than making it informational, it's going to make sure that this user that I'm logged in as now is not able to overwrite the lock that Josh put on that record. Now if we go back to Josh's view in the other blue pill, see that this is currently still locked by Josh, so this is the blue pill we're on with Josh's account. Once we hit the save button, that's actually going to expire the lock. This is another setting under the Global Lock Manager where you're able to decide if you want the lock to expire when it's saved or if you want it to expire when someone actually clicks the lock and unlock button. More than likely when the record's being saved, they're done with it. We want to allow someone else to go in and make any changes without the record being locked. So let's go ahead and click on save. And you'll see here it says that this record is now unlocked. Now if we wanted to manually lock the record, so let's say that we're not actually editing this ticket yet, but we're going to, but something came up. Maybe I had a phone call interrupt me, but I wanted to tackle this issue myself. If I go ahead and just click on the unlocked button, it's going to automatically lock that record for me. So this was a quick recap of what the new feature in version 5 is for the record locking. This is great for when you have multiple technicians working on the service desk, which is pretty much common with every client that we deal with. So thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this was Robert with Beyond 20.